Hey guys, it's Lauren. I'm here with Oliver Irving, the director of How to Be, the latest movie starring Robert Pattinson.
Hello. Hello.
So,
Hello.
first of all, what's the basic plot of this movie?
The basic plot of this movie, there's a young guy who's kind of sort of left university, he's about that age, and he's sort of undergoing a bit of a quarter-life crisis, and he gets dumped by his girlfriend, and he's kind of a bit of a singer-songwriter, and he's moping around kind of hoping he could be a singer-songwriter but not really getting it together, and he's sort of wondering what the hell he's doing with his life and what he's going to do with his life. And then his friends are kind of not much help because they're kind of odder than he is.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting into self-help, and he reads a self-help book which kind of really influences him, and then he ends up paying for the self-help author to come and live with him and his parents and undergo a kind of strange therapy session.
When casting art, were you looking for someone who was a musician, or did it kind of just happen that way?
Yeah, we were kind of looking for someone who's a musician. We were actually looking for someone who's a lesser musician than Rob turned out to be. He kind of underplayed how well he could play. He sort of made out like, I can only play a couple of chords. And he sort of said, I was in this Harry Potter film, but it wasn't very big. I wasn't in it very much. When actually it turned out he was quite big in that movie and could play pretty well. So in a way he had to dumb down his playing for the start of the movie to make it seem more convincing.
Alright, did he play the harmonica before?
No, I don't know if he played the harmonica before. Don't think so. I think Joe Hastings, who composed the score for the film with me, he would sit there and supervise all the music, because we wanted all the music in the film to be played for real. So every scene when someone's playing music, it's live, it's in the room when we record it, instead of doing that phony thing of having a thing and people miming along to a backing track. It always looks rubbish. I don't know why people think it's acceptable, but they still do it all the time. And so we would get Rob to learn the songs and then play them how he would play them. And so things like the harmonica solo, Joe had a harmonica solo worked out and he would work it out with him, but then Rob would go off and play his own harmonica solo. So I guess he kind of figured out how to play pretty well.
So where did you get the idea of this film, like inspiration?
Well, the sort of characters in the film are based on friends of mine, and even has friends of mine playing versions of themselves within the movie. And then, so it's all those kind of settings and people were based on people I knew around me, and I just thought it'd be funny. It was like a nightmare idea having to move back in with your parents once you've moved out.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, just the idea of that just made me think. I mean, it's funny because my parents aren't anything like the ones in the film. I got on with them really well, but the idea of having to move out and have all that independence and then move back in just doesn't seems not enjoyable. But a lot of people have to do it, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was also interested in all this self-help stuff and reading these funny self-help books and finding it all kind of amusing. But
did you read them for entertainment, or?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, they're fascinating. I've read an awful lot of them, and therapy books and child-rearing books, things like that. But they're just really funny as well. I just found them really amusing, the whole concept. And so I thought it would be really funny to get these two completely sort of disparate worlds, these kind of young English men wandering around navel-gazing, and then these books that are very kind of like telling you how you can sort it all out and solve all your problems.
Yeah.
And kind of getting that world, that kind of American self-help world, and bringing that into the to this kind of English setting just seemed really amusing to me.
What is it that makes this film so appealing to the audience, do you think?
I think there's a sense of reality within the film. That's the feedback I've been getting. People say, oh yeah, this is like real life, and this is like experiences that I've had. So on one level, you know, there's no car chase, or well, there's almost a car chase, but there's no like, you know, real car chases. There's no like, you know, no one shoots each other or anything like that. But it's the kind of stuff that people do have to deal with every day. You know, it's a little film about the little things that do happen. Right. And the way we shot it and the way we got the performances and everything are supposed to feel quite real, and yet at the same time there's something slightly, I don't say surreal about it, but you know, ever so slightly off, which makes it feel slightly heightened, the reality, but at the same time it actually feels quite normal and real. And so I think a lot of people can empathise with the characters and relate to the situations, and also it's very funny.
Tell us about the US tour and how you guys came about this.
Well, I'd been coming across the States a lot for screenings over here, and some of them have gone so well, and we're getting so much popularity, and you know, there were such big audiences and there was such a great feeling from those audiences. I started thinking, this is really interesting. It'd be great if we could try and fit as many of these screenings in together and get all the other guys over as well, so they could see the kind of fun dynamic we had on set in some ways.
Tonight I've got Joe Hastings, who composed the score for the film. I've got Mike Pearce, who plays Nicky in the film. And we've got Johnny White, who plays Ronnie in the film.
And do a kind of bit of a promotion leading up to the IFC VOD release and get as many cinema screenings in the States as we could. So I called everyone up and said, can we figure this out? Can we organise it? And got some volunteers who decided they'd come along and help, and people who could help us out, and IFC helped out. And off we went. So it was a bit like, it felt like, I was curious to see, in the music industry now, they're saying that often people aren't making as much money from album sales, and so they're going out on tour again and making money from actual ticket sales.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, it used to be that the tour promoted the album, but now it's almost like the album promotes the tour.
Right.
And I just thought that was really interesting, and I thought it'd be really nice to sort of have these events that people could come along to.
When you guys were in production, were you more directional, or did you kind of like let the actors, do their own thing?
On the actual shoot?
Mm-hmm.
It depended very much on the actor and very much on the scene. So some scenes were very closely scripted and people just followed the lines perfectly, and other scenes I wanted people to improvise a lot and play around and make it feel really real.
Mm-hmm.
And also different actors responded well to different methods. So for instance, the guy who plays Nicky responds really well.
I think I did, retrospectively, maybe I did it was at my best when it was more improvised and when I didn't know what I was supposed to be saying in the scene, and I was making it up on the spot partly. Whereas Johnny, I think, was better as after 30, 40 takes. Slow learner.
Other actors say, like the guy who plays Ronnie, would like to work on it much more and follow the script much more closely and have much more of an idea of how they're going to do it. And then people like Rob would luckily kind of balance between the two and be able to sometimes be very improvisational and sometimes be much more like close to the script and everything. Well, I really enjoyed what I got from the scene where Rob's talking to himself. The character is talking to himself in the mirror at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Because I just knew we got it right, and so I was very pleased with that. I also really enjoyed shooting the scene where he's in the bedroom in his old house.
Oh
with the
yeah.
young boy, because there was just something about it. I felt like, in my mind, I knew how it was going to play and the weird energy that would be in this room, this weird dynamic, and we kind of pulled it off. And the way Rob was playing it with the boy and everything just worked really, really well.
Okay, well, thank you, Oliver, for taking your time and having this interview.
Okay.
How to Be will be on demand on IFC Festival Direct in the US for 3 months starting April 29th. And for more information, you can go to howtobemovie.com.